Hello everyone, my name is Sweet Bardelion and I am going to talk about the learning task of a teaching internship and its education program or syllabus. Listen carefully and avoid missing what I have to say so as not to get lost in the topic. Learning task number 1. Realizing what teaching internship is all about. In learning task number 1, you will be asked why is teaching internship important, what are the important phases, under the laws and regulations that you should know and apply in teaching profession. Learning task number 2. Going to my cooperating school, my second home. In learning task number 2, the essential questions are: what is a cooperating school? What are the characteristics of the cooperating school that will nurture and inspire learner participation? And how do I cascade the school's vision, mission, goals, core values, and expected graduate attributes in the daily lessons? Learning task number 3, meeting the cooperating school principal. In learning task number 3, you have to know the role of the cooperating school principal in the teaching internship program. And what are the school's expectations of the teacher candidates who are placed in their school for teaching internship? And also, what tools do you need to bring in terms of CASH or KASH, the knowledge, attitudes, skills, and habits. Learning task number 4, getting acquainted with my cooperating teacher. In learning task number 4, you need to know the role of the cooperating teacher in your internship program and what expectations of you are given by your cooperating teacher, and how shall you respond effectively to these expectations. Learning task number 4, getting acquainted with my cooperating teacher. In learning task number 4, you need to know the role of the cooperating teacher in your internship program. What expectations of you are given by your cooperating teacher, and how shall you respond effectively to these expectations? And what are the policies and procedures given by your cooperating teacher on providing safe and secure learning environments? Learning task number 5, understanding my learners, their strengths, needs, interests, and experiences. In learning task number 5, what is meant by diversity of learners? How do learners differ? What differentiated activities must be applied to suit learners' needs, strengths, interests, and experiences? Learning task number 6, managing my classroom structure and routines. In learning task number 6, what is the importance of having an organized and systematic classroom structure and routines? And as a teaching intern, what classroom routines shall you establish to ensure a positive and non-violent discipline way of managing learners' behavior? Learning task number 7, formulating my classroom rules. Why are classroom rules important? What are the important things to consider in formulating classroom rules? What classroom rules are you going to formulate to ensure fairness, respect, and care among the students? And what must teachers do to motivate learners to work productively and to make them responsible for their own learning? Learning task number 8, writing my first learning plan. In learning task number 8, what are the important considerations in preparing a developmentally sequenced teaching and learning? And when do we say that learning outcomes are aligned with learning competencies to meet curriculum requirements? Learning task number 9, seeking advice from my cooperating teacher to enrich my teaching practice. In learning task number 9, why is there a need to seek advice from your cooperating teacher and experienced teachers? And what were your areas of strength and areas of improvement? What other innovations may be explored to enrich teaching practice? Learning task number 10, visiting the school's Learning Resource Center. In learning task number 10, what is a Learning Resource Center? And why is a Learning Resource Center important in teaching and learning? Learning task number 11, creating instructional materials. What are instructional materials? And why are instructional materials needed in the teaching learning process? Learning task number 12, utilizing various teaching strategies to promote high-order thinking skills. What are teaching strategies? What is integrative learning? What are higher-order thinking skills? And what are the verbal and nonverbal communication strategies? Learning task number 13, exploring more interactive and innovative teaching strategies for diverse learners. What are the 3 I's and 2 C's in education? What is differentiated instruction? And you have to give examples of differentiated instruction in learning task number 13. Learning task number 14, writing contingency lesson plans or learning plans. In learning task number 14, how must teacher responds to the different special educational needs of learners, and what strategies may be applied that are inclusive of the indigenous groups, and also what language must be used to facilitate the teaching learning process. Learning task number 15, constructing various assessment tools. In this learning task, you will be asked to differentiate diagnostic, formative, and summative assessments. Why do you need to monitor and evaluate learner progress and achievements? What are some examples of constructive feedback to improve learner performance? And you have to give examples of strategies for communicating learner needs, progress, and achievement. What is the role of assessment data in the teaching and learning practices and programs? Learning task number 16, participating in the school's learning program and activities. In this learning task, you have to know the benefits of participating in the school's learning program and what are the relevant and responsive learning programs in your cooperating school. Learning task number 17, executing my demonstration learning plan. In this learning task, what strategies may be used to promote literacy and numeracy skills? And what strategies also may be employed to engage learners individually and in groups? What strategies may be designed to meaningful exploration, discovery, and hands-on activities within the available physical learning environment? Learning task number 18, articulating my personal philosophy of teaching. In this learning task, what is your personal philosophy of teaching? What behaviors must be exhibited by professional teachers? And how do we establish professional links with colleagues? How can you concretize the professional development goals based on the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers or PPST? And now, let's proceed to appendices. Sample lesson critiquing form for teacher internship. Pre-service teachers actual teaching checklist. Pre-service teachers actual teaching observation and rating sheet. Teaching internship evaluation form for student interns. proposed procedure on how to obtain the final grade in teaching internship, school forms used, sample clearance form, sample excuse letter, sample application letter, sample format for curriculum vitae, revised Bloom's taxonomy of objectives, resolution 435, 1997 Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers, Republic Act 7877, Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995, and Republic Act No. 7877, an act declaring sexual harassment unlawful in the employment or training environment and for other purposes. Table of Specification of General Education of the Licensure Examination for Teachers or LET. TOS of Professional Education of the Licensure Examination for Teachers or LET. CMO 75-2017, Policies, Standards, and Guidelines for Bachelor of Secondary Education or BSED. Joint CHED and DepEd Order Guidelines in the deployments of pre-service teachers under experiential learning, field of study, and practice teaching. Memorandum of Agreement, CMO 74-2017, Policies, Standards, and Guidelines for Bachelor of Elementary Education or BEd. DepEd Order No. 14, 2015, Hiring Guidelines for Teacher 1, Position Effective School Year 2015 to 2016. National Adoption and Implementation of the Philippine Professional Standard for Teachers, Republic Act 10627, Anti-Bullying Act, a primer, Republic Act 4670, the Magna Carta for Public School Teachers. The Certificate of Completion and Proficiency, and the last but not the least of appendices is Certificate of Recognition. And the last but not the least, the Certificate of Recognition. Next is the Teaching Internship Syllabus. Teaching internship is a year-long engagement that supports authentic experiential learning from field study to actual classroom immersion of the prospective teachers. It begins with field study experiences through observation, participation, and will progress to teaching assistantship and guided mentored classroom teaching. The PPST domains shall be used as guideposts in developing the content, pedagogy, and implementation of the course. It has 6 units, full-time 30 to 40 hours a week for 1 semester. Prerequisites are Field Study 1 and 2. Its course outcomes are demonstrate understanding of learning environments that promote fairness, respect, and care to encourage learning. Demonstrate content knowledge and its application within or across curriculum teaching areas. Employ a wide variety of teaching methodologies and delivery modes appropriate to specific learners and their environments. Design instructional plans and various modes of assessment aligned with learning outcomes. Create and use a variety of teaching and learning resources, including ICT, to address learning goals. Demonstrate a variety of thinking skills in planning, monitoring, assessing, and reporting learning processes and outcomes. Demonstrate behaviors that uphold the dignity of teaching profession by exhibiting qualities such as caring attitude, respect, and integrity. Demonstrate motivation to realize professional development goals based on the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers. Alignment of course outcomes with summative tasks. Course outcome letter A. Demonstrate understanding of learning environments that promote fairness, respect, and care to encourage learning. The summative assessment task under these course outcomes are formulation of classroom rules and routines, daily teaching and demonstration lesson plans. In this task, you are to formulate some rules in managing your class to promote friendly, safe, and secure environments. This will promote fairness, respect, and care, and this also encourages positive and non-violent discipline in the management of learner behavior, which they will use in their daily teaching and in their demonstration lessons. Course outcomes letter B. Demonstrate content knowledge and its application within and or across curriculum teaching areas. The summative assessment task under this course outcome are daily learning plans, demonstration, and lesson. In this learning task, you are expected to write daily learning plans which integrate within and across learning areas. This shall also be applied in the writing of the demonstration lesson. Course outcomes number 3, employ a wide variety of teaching methodologies and delivery modes appropriate to specific learners and in their environments. The summative assessment task under this course outcome are daily lessons, demonstration lesson at the end of the teaching internship, portfolio, and rubric. You are expected to use a variety of teaching methodologies and delivery modes appropriate to specific learners and their learning environments by their gender, its needs, their strengths, their interests, and their experiences. Likewise, these strategies to use must be responsive to the learner's linguistic, cultural, socioeconomic, and religious background. Course outcome letter D. Design instructional plans and various modes of assessment aligned with learning outcomes. The summative assessment tasks under this course outcome are instructional plans and rubric. All the instructional plans and the various modes of assessments that you have written and constructed shall be collated and included in your portfolio. Course outcome letter E. Create and use a variety of teaching and learning resources, including ICT, to address learning goals. Summative assessment tasks under this course outcome are ICT resources, portfolio, and rubric. As one of your learning artifacts, you need to include all the ICT resources you have designed and created in your learning portfolio. Course outcome letter F. Demonstrate a variety of thinking skills in planning, monitoring, assessing, and reporting learning processes and outcomes. Summative assessment tasks under this course outcome are learning plans, daily lessons, demonstration lessons, and rubric. In all your daily tasks as a teaching intern, you need to include a variety of higher order thinking skills in writing learning outcomes, planning activities, implementing the lesson, constructing assessment tests. And this shall be applied in writing the learning plans, daily lesson, and demonstration lessons. Course outcome letter G. Demonstrate behaviors that uphold the dignity of teaching profession by exhibiting qualities such as caring attitude, respect, and integrity. Summative assessment task under this course outcome is teaching internship evaluation accomplished by cooperating teacher. At the end of teaching internship, you are evaluated by your cooperating teacher using the prescribed evaluation sheet of your respective. Course outcome letter H. Demonstrate motivation to realize professional development goals based on the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers or PPST. The summative assessment task for this course outcome are PPST Beginning Teacher Indicators or BTI and Reflection Journal. To find out how you have mastered the beginning teacher indicators, you are required to accomplish the checklist. Likewise, you are to write a reflection journal. We are now on the desired learning outcomes. Under these desired learning outcomes, define teaching internship, explain the different phases of teaching internship, demonstrate awareness of existing laws and regulations that apply to the teaching profession, and responsibilities specified in the Code of Ethics for professional teachers. The course content, subject matter with number of hours and meetings, what is teaching internship, phases of teaching internship, existing laws in the existing profession, and the number of hours is 6 hours. The teaching learning activities to be used are use of a structured frame, answering a reflective question, research work, and the assessment task and outputs to be made are accomplished structure frame, reflective journal, multiple choice, and scoring rubric. Another desired learning outcomes, describe the characteristics of the cooperating school that nurtures and inspires learner participation. Give examples and situations on how the vision, mission, goals, core values, and expected graduate attributes may be integrated in the daily lessons. Demonstrate understanding of supportive learning environment that nurture and inspire learner participation. The course content are subject matter with numbers of hours and meetings, role of cooperating schools in teaching internship, integrating the school's vision, mission, goals, values, and expected graduate attributes. Number of hours is 6 hours. The teaching learning activities to be used is documentary analysis. The assessment task and outputs to be made are multiple choice and scoring rubric. Another objective, meet the cooperating principal, listen and respond effectively to the expectations of the school on teaching internship, demonstrate knowledge and understanding of school policies and procedures to foster harmonious relationship with the wider school community. The subject matter, meeting the school cooperating principal. The teaching learning activities to be used are writing of expectations and responsibilities, writing the school policies and procedures, completing the internship tools, and composing an acronym. Assessment tasks and outputs to be made, multiple choice, matrix completion, acronym, and scoring rubrics. Another objective, get acquainted with my cooperating teacher. Listen and respond effectively to the expectations of my cooperating teacher. Enumerate my responsibilities based on the given expectations. Demonstrate knowledge of policies and procedures that provide safe and secure learning environments. Subject matter, getting acquainted with my cooperating teacher. Number of hours, 6 hours. Teaching learning activities to be used are completing the matrix on expectations and responsibilities, citing policies and procedures in providing safe and secure learning environment, giving situations on the application of virtuous, writing of an appreciation letter to one's cooperating teacher, the assessment task and outputs to be made, matrix completion, completion of matrix, completion of situations, letter to the cooperating teacher, and scoring rubric. Another desired learning outcomes. Meet my learners in the different classes, identify the needs, strengths, interests, and experiences of my learners, demonstrate knowledge and understanding of differentiated teaching to suit learners, gender, needs, strengths, interests, and experiences. Research on one study about the diversity of learners. The subject matter, understanding my learners, their strengths, needs, interests, and experiences. Number of hours, 6 hours. Teaching learning activities, making of infographics, completion of matrix on learning modalities, completion of the differentiated teaching instruction, writing a research, and abstract. Assessment task and outputs, completed infographics, completed matrix on learning modalities, completed matrix on differentiated instruction, completed research abstract, and scoring rubric. Another objective, identify classroom structure, routines. Discuss the importance of good classroom structure or routine in class. Design effective classroom management routines. Demonstrate positive and nonviolent discipline in the management of learner behavior. Subject matter, managing my classroom structure or routines. Number of hours, 6 hours. The teaching learning activities, observation of disciplinary nonviolent practices, taking photographs of a positive classroom atmosphere, designing a classroom routines, interview of students regarding positive and nonviolent discipline, and the assessment task and outputs, observation notes, photographs of positive classroom atmosphere, completed structured classroom routines, interview notes, scoring rubric. Another objective, discuss the importance of classroom rules, give the important things to remember in formulating classroom rules, cite positive and non-violent ways of solving misdemeanors in class, demonstrate learning environments that promote fairness, respect, and care to encourage learning. Demonstrate knowledge of learning environments that motivate learners to work productively by assuming responsibility for their own learning. Subject matter, formulating my classroom rules. Number of hours, 6 hours. The teaching learning activities, conducting an interview on the importance of rules, creating classroom rules, completion of positive and non-violent ways of solving misdemeanors, and taking snapshots of classroom rules. The assessment tasks and outputs, completed interview notes, completed classroom rules, positive and non-violent ways of solving misdemeanors, and photographs of classroom rules. Desired learning outcomes, identify learning outcomes that are aligned with competencies, prepare developmentally sequenced teaching and learning process to meet curriculum requirements. Subject matter, writing my first learning plan. Number of hours, 6 hours. The teaching learning activities to be used, collecting sample lesson plans from different schools in various formats and disciplines, and writing daily learning plans. The assessment tasks and outputs, collected sample lesson plans and written daily learning plans. Desired learning outcomes, seek advice from my cooperating teacher concerning strategies that can enrich teaching practice. Apply the tips given by the cooperating teacher regarding the learning plan and its effective implementation. Subject matter, seeking advice from my cooperating teacher to enrich my teaching practice. The number of hours is 6 hours. The teaching learning activities, seeking advice cooperating teacher, and applying the tips from the cooperating teacher. The assessment tasks and outputs, revisions or suggestions from the cooperating teacher. Another desired learning outcomes, visit the school's learning resources. Show skills in the selection, development, and using a variety of teaching and learning resources, including ICT, to address learning goals. Choose ICT materials available to enrich classroom instruction. Subject matter, visiting the school's learning resource center, and the number of hours is 6 hours. Teaching learning activities, visiting the school's learning resource center, creating PowerPoint presentation for lessons, writing a reflective narrative on the importance of learning resource center for teaching. The assessment task and outputs, completion of the matrix, completed PowerPoint presentation, reflective narrative, and scoring rubric. Next objective, prepare PowerPoint presentation aligned with the learning outcomes, show skills in the positive use of ICT to facilitate the teaching and learning process. The subject matter, creating instructional materials, and the number of hours is 6 hours. The teaching learning activities, getting instructional materials from www.slideshare.net, and research on the present status on ICT in education. Assessment tasks and outputs, collected slides from www.slideshare.net, and written research on the ICT in education and scoring rubric. Next objective, apply teaching strategies that develop critical and creative thinking and or other higher order thinking skills. Demonstrate content knowledge and its application within and or across curriculum teaching areas. Demonstrate an understanding of the range of verbal and nonverbal classroom communication strategies that support learner understanding, participation, engagement, and achievement. The subject matter, utilizing various teaching strategies to promote higher order thinking skills, and the number of hours is 6 hours. Teaching learning activities, creating a curriculum web of integration across learning areas, formulating higher order thinking skills, enumerating verbal and nonverbal cues to support learners' engagements, and collecting samples of student works. The assessment tasks and outputs, finished curriculum web, formulated hot questions, completed matrix of verbal and nonverbal cues, and scoring rubric. Another objective that follows, demonstrate knowledge and understanding of differentiated teaching to suit the learner's gender, needs, strengths, interests, implemented teaching strategies that are responsive to the learner's linguistic, cultural, socioeconomic, and religious backgrounds. Use strategic responsive to learners with disabilities, giftedness, and talents. Subject matter, exploring more interactive and innovative teaching strategies for diverse learners. Teaching learning activities, observing cooperating teacher, completing a matrix on addressing diverse types of learners, and completing a matrix on addressing giftedness and children with special needs. Assessment tasks and outputs, observation notes, completed matrix on addressing diverse types of learners, completed matrix on addressing giftedness and children with special needs, and scoring rubric. Another desired learning outcomes, respond to the different special educational needs of learners, apply strategies that are inclusive of learners from indigenous groups, use mother tongue, Filipino, and English to facilitate the teaching and learning process. Subject matter, writing contingency plans or learning plans. Number of hours, 6 hours. The teaching learning activities, citing situations how teachers address the various special educational needs of learners. Conducting various activities, observation of various strategies for various types of learners, research on teaching strategies for indigenous groups, interview a teacher handling indigenous groups, watching a film on teaching indigenous groups, and observation on the teaching of mother tongue. The assessment tasks and outputs to be made are completed matrix on different situations on addressing various special educational needs of learners, observation of various strategies for various types of learners, completed research on teaching strategies for indigenous groups, interview notes on handling indigenous groups, reflection on the film on teaching indigenous groups, and observation notes on the teaching of mother tongue. Desired learning outcomes. Demonstrate knowledge of the design, selection, organization, and use of diagnostic, formative, and summative assessment strategies consistent with curriculum requirements. Demonstrate knowledge of monitoring and evaluation of learner progress and achievement using learner attainment data. Demonstrate knowledge of providing timely, accurate, and constructive feedback to improve learner performance. Demonstrate familiarity with a range of strategies for communicating learner needs, progress, and achievement. Demonstrate an understanding of the role of assessment data, feedback in teaching and learning practices and programs. Subject matter, constructing various assessment tools, and the number of hours is 6 hours. The teaching learning activities, getting samples of diagnostic, formative, and summative tests, interviewing cooperating teachers on the importance of monitoring and evaluation, enumerating the various strategies used by the cooperating school to communicate learner needs, progress, and achievements, assessment tasks and outputs, sample of diagnostic, formative, and summative tests, interview notes cooperating teachers on the importance of monitoring and evaluation, samples of the various strategies and assessment data used by the cooperating school to communicate the learner needs, progress, and achievement. Next objective, identify the relevant and responsive learning program and activities in my cooperating school. Give the benefits of participating in the school's learning program. Demonstrate knowledge in the implementation of relevant and responsive learning programs. Subject matter, participating in the school's learning program and activities, number of hours, 6 hours. Teaching learning activities, listing down the relevant programs celebrated by the cooperating school, enumerating the school programs and other learning programs designed by the school to assist academic success, designing a learning program using a given template, assessment tasks and outputs, listing of relevant programs celebrated by the cooperating school, school programs and other learning programs designed by the school to assist academic success, accomplished learning program using a given template, and scoring rubric. Next objective, demonstrate knowledge of teaching strategies that promote literacy and numeracy skills. Demonstrate knowledge of managing classroom structure that engage learners individually or in groups in meaningful exploration, discovery, and hands-on activities within the available physical learning. The subject matter, executing my demonstration learning plan, and the number of hours is 6 hours. Teaching learning activities. Writing the learning plan for a demonstration lesson. Writing the strategies before, during, and after the demonstration lesson. Completing the matrix after demonstration lesson, and making a photo collage of the demonstration lesson. Assessment tasks and outputs. Accomplished learning plan for a demonstration lesson. Completed the strategies before, during, and after the demonstration lesson. Completed matrix after the demonstration lesson, and photo collage of the demonstration lesson. Our last desired learning outcomes. Articulate a personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. Demonstrate behaviors that uphold the dignity of teaching as a profession by exhibiting qualities such as caring attitude, respect, and integrity. Seek opportunities to establish professional links with colleagues. Demonstrate motivation to realize professional development goals based on the Philippine professional standards for teachers. The subject matter, articulating my personal philosophy of teaching, and the number of hours is 6 hours. The teaching learning activities are observing a cooperating teacher who exhibits caring, respect, and integrity, and citing ways on how to establish with professional links with organizations. The assessment task and outputs to be made are observation notes on cooperating teacher who exhibits caring, respect, and integrity, completed matrix on ways on how to establish with professional links with organization, and scoring rubrics. Thank you.